And we're live. Hello, everybody.
We're live.
Hey.
Look at us.
I'm just a still image, which is awesome.
Right, I was gonna stretch it out to meet like the sides of the border, but I didn't want to be rude. Yeah, exactly.
We don't know how to say it. You look a little bigger.
I'm really hungry lately. All this cornbread.
This bulking.
Yeah.
Bulking.
Yeah, I'm in my bulk phase. Yeah.
Yeah.
You do look like you're kind of, staring off in the distance at us a little bit. I like it.
I'm thinking of Donnie and what he's up to right now.
I think we all know what he's up to right now.
Bubble Bobble tournament.
Oh,
Obviously.
His favorite game.
I'm looking forward to when he listens to this.
Yeah, me too.
All right. Welcome in, everyone, and welcome to Gamers Week Podcast. Like the name says, we analyze the best, worst, and weirdest headlines of the past week in the video game industry. This is episode 171, and today is Wednesday, June 25th, 2025. Thanks so much for tuning in, everyone. My name is Blue Williams, and I'll be your host this evening. But as you can see, I am not alone. I do have two fine co-hosts with me. My first co-host has recently been caught red-handed watching Japanese documentaries with subs rather than dubs. Please welcome him to the otaku family. We have Ryan Kane, a.k.a. Retro Game Brews. Ryan, how does it feel to be a weebo?
I feel like this has been growth for me, right? That I've come into an entirely new world. This part that doesn't really jive well with me is that I had it in the background while I was working. So I had no idea what was going on for about half of what I was watching.
That is the risk, but authenticity pays no price.
It's wise.
Yeah. It was
like that.
deep, admit it.
Whoa.
All right.
I saw that, Ryan.
Yeah, what? Huh?
Huh? What? And as you can see, my second co-host is not here. That's right, we last saw the one and only Donnie G as he was taken off for Poland to study at the feet of the great rollerblading gurus. We haven't seen him since, although he did send a disturbing selfie of himself in nothing but a neon fanny pack and some 1996 lowrider Rossies with cockroach wheels.
Dang.
In his place, however, we have Patrick Brickhouse, a.k.a. Retroblast Pat. He's a voice actor, writer, official Capcom creator, and, of course, the host of the Retroblast podcast.
Wow.
Pat, welcome into the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me back. Like we said, it's been too long, but it is a pleasure, as always, to be here.
It is. Pat was previously on episode 109. Which was at the end of 2023, and of course, episode 12, which is
the infamous
Drunk Donnie episode.
That was my first exposure to Donnie, and it will forever live in my mind as the true Donnie.
You got so exposed. Yes.
This was wonderful.
I just remember getting messages like, Donnie's a little drunk.
You made a big messaging run.
I was like, I think he's had maybe a couple. Yeah. It was, but I will never forget it. I mean,
I know, neither will I.
No.
It was fun though. All right, so for anybody who maybe didn't catch your previous episodes, do you mind introducing yourself to everybody?
Oh, yes. Hi, everyone. And yes, I saw that my camera is frozen. It's true. It will be frozen for the rest of the episode, so I apologize for that. My name's Patrick Brickhouse. And I am the host of Retroblast, the Retroblast podcast. Been doing that for almost coming up on 6 years now.
Wow.
Which is big, yeah. So still going with that. Dabbled in a few things since then, obviously with thank you for mentioning the Capcom thing. That was a super, super hype moment for me because I'm a big Capcom fan. I love Capcom. Yeah. So that was huge. And so I just I love doing that. I'm still doing it. Like I said, as we speak on it right now, Blue and Ryan have both been on my show a couple of times, and those were some of my favorite episodes. Ryan, I think, has been on it 800 times?
I think we talked about this. I've been on it 5 times, but the 6
times.
The 6 is when I get with the gold jacket and everything.
That's when you get. Do you have the punch card? Because that's when you. Get
You're not kidding, because when we had the Gamersician on
Mm-hmm.
a couple
Yeah.
weeks ago, I found him from your show, and so
Yeah.
he was amazing, but I was going
He's
through
incredible.
your past episodes, going, okay, who can I use as a guest? Wait, there's
Yeah.
Ryan. There's Donnie. There's Ryan. And like I just kept scrolling. I was like, who is new? God.
Yeah, it's like Ryan just keeps coming back because but you know what? He's consistent and he's great every time, and I love having him back. And Blue, we'll have to have you back soon too. And Donnie. I've had some really deep conversations with Donnie. Oddly enough, we talked about Silent Hill 2. So it's just, but that was so much fun. But yeah, the Gamersician, he's going to be on my next episode. So
Nice.
he's coming back, and he's actually I don't have a full-time co-host, and I won't probably, but Paul has agreed to come on more frequently. So he's going to be kind of a consistent co-host for
Nice.
a while. And he's a fantastic guy. I mean, I love
Yeah.
Paul, and he just got partner status on YouTube. So
Oh,
congratulations to him.
oh,
Yeah,
congratulations.
he's been busting himself for years trying to do that. So you guys, yeah, I will shout Paul too, because he's phenomenal. So you should check out his content. But yeah,
For
he'll
sure.
be back on with me. We're recording this weekend for SSX Tricky, so that'll be the new episode.
Yeah, 100% deserved. Paul is great. So
Yeah, he is.
very excellent choice, and can't wait to hear what you two come up with.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Well, let's move on.
Mm-hmm.
And have you ever wanted to start your own podcast, maybe about Bigfoot's online dating notes? Well, you'll need a place to host your show. Buzzsprout has a user-friendly interface, great analytics, and resources to help you grow your audience. Just use the link in the description to get a $20 credit when you sign up for a paid plan. And let's move on to our reviews, reactions, and requests. Holy Headshot says, great show. I thought the last Carrie quote was actually Stiller from Pet Detective, which would have been a crazy level of deviousness. Well done on the game, Blue. Keep it up all. Yeah, I didn't think about that, and I've been kicking myself ever since reading this. Like, God damn it, I should have done that.
It would have been nice too if you had made the categories relevant to me. Just throwing that out there.
I think you knew
As always.
the
Yeah.
90s hip-hop answers, and you never even tried it. You were whining the whole time about it, and you never even tried it.
I know my lane. All right, I know my lane.
Dragoon ARC said, I wonder if this genre of butt-controlled fighting games will take off. I look forward to Mortal Kombat, Porkin, King of Keisters, Dragon Butt Fighters Z, Fatal Fanny, and Keister Instinct.
Well done. That's a high five.
Fatal Fanny means something very different in the UK.
It does. You're right.
Either way, I'm going to play it.
Yeah, same, but Dragon Butt Fighters is up there for me. Let's go.
100%.
Of course, Blue picked the one with all the puns in it. So
Yeah.
They were excellent
It's fair.
puns. They should be rewarded. And Cactus Zaddy says, great episode. You guys joking around about a penis museum brought back a memory. There was a penis art exhibit at the Getty in Los Angeles, and I went with some friends. I took a cell phone picture of some of the art, and this old, stern lady comes up to me and just yells, you can't take pictures here. Stop that. And of course, it's a little crowded, and everybody just stops talking and looks right over at me. And I was like, I thought pictures were encouraged. And she scowls and barks, everywhere but here, for obvious reasons. I couldn't stop laughing for like a month.
A month.
A month. The lingering question I have about this story is whether she worked there or she was just...
yeah, she's just like a patron that showed up and be like,
speak up her ass.
have some decency.
What is wrong with you?
You're at a penis art exhibit.
Right.
Come on.
You have to know.
You can't enjoy these later.
Take some photos and leave.
This is Spank Bank only.
Oh, God.
So, you know what? This whole thing, though, brought up a really interesting thing, because I was having a conversation with someone recently that was talking about how on the show, sometimes our content's a little more racy than others, and that they listen with their kids sometimes. And so what they had suggested, right, was that at the beginning of the episode, we're like, Peggy 18, Right? The following episode contains adult content, mention of blah, blah, blah. Like, I think maybe that's something that we can do, because I'm not saying we should filter ourselves. No, censorship is not something I'm saying. I'm just saying, let's give everybody a heads up, right?
Just for the children.
Right. And this is a TVMA already.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Okay. No. Fair enough. Fair enough. Criticism taken. All right. Let's move on to our patron shoutouts.
All right, well, we couldn't do what we do without the help of our gorgeous patrons. Here are the generous folks supporting us on Patreon. Bobson Dugna, Blues Little Sis, Loudmouth, Retroblast Pat, hey, I know that guy, B&T Zilla Guy, The Mad Milkman, Seven Castle Forest, Crunchy Kong, Snacks the Handsome Chef, Frank Grande, Love Retro BTW, Steven Sand, Ramboski, Terry Kinnair, Don't Make Me Pull This Car Over, Games of Coffee, Hybrid Divide, You Fall Before Me, Davey PGH, The Pixel Pond Family, including Shannon and Luke, Zach, a.k.a. Old Cluster Nuts, Puzzle Butter, number one, I'm never going to not laugh at that. Number one Blue Sick Voice fan, John Barron, Sassy Sony, Evil Lust, Rai Wants This Boy's Soul, Mega Retro Man, Gamatroid, Moradib, Michael, Men, you're about to embark on a great crusade to stamp out runaway decency in the West. Now you men will only be risking your lives, which I will be risking an almost certain Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor, LaKite.
Wow.
Yep. Emo S, Bill Tucker, you know, the beeps, the sweeps, and the creeps. Fruitcake, I hate it when my Schwartz gets twisted. Pickled Pepper, Ducks with Thick Thighs, and absolutely the best podcast, a work in progress. If you like what you hear today, we really hope you do. Please consider joining us on Patreon. Your support helps cover costs of producing the show, as well as cool stuff we'll be doing like prizes and giveaways. You also gain access to our bi-weekly, but currently on hiatus until August, patron-only bonus cast called Gamers Week Uncut Patrons with Benefits. Visit patreon.com/gamersweek or follow the link in the show notes to learn more.
Yeah, RetroAF says, are there any episodes that are E for everyone? I don't think so.
No,
No.
absolutely not.
No, and I Can't See says, R.I.P. Maud Flanders.
No.
All right, let's move on to the headlines.
All right. So this headline segment is proudly sponsored by Absolutely the Best Podcast, a work in progress. Each episode, George and Zach discuss and rank all the best things, starting with deep dives into every movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This week, they've got a trivia question for us. What Suzuki developed arcade game is fittingly the first ever to be featured in a movie? I tried. Shown in the 1973 film Soylent Green. Visit them at absolutelythebest.net or follow the link in the show notes.
E for effort there.
I've seen Soylent Green, but
I've seen it recently, so I'm going to hold off
Okay.
because I know the answer. I would love to hear what your
Okay.
guess is.
I would have to guess. Yeah. That's tough. 1973. Blue?
I know
guess?
the answer. Zach gives me the answers, but having seen Soylent Green, I did not also recall the game, so I would have had to guess along with you.
Oh, that's tough. But Ryan, you know.
I do. I watched Soylent Green like 2 weeks ago.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I don't know what it could be.
Anything like from early 70s.
Well, see, that's what I'm thinking. Early 70s is kind of tough.
Right.
Yeah,
Think like arcade games.
what else was there in early 70s?
Most of the ones I know are late 70s.
Got it.
Let me think.
I mean, you don't have to answer. We're just trying to coax you there.
No, it makes it more fun, but I'm also going like, oh my God.
He's trying to stroke it out of you.
Yeah, he does that a lot.
Yeah.
Hey, you said that was a secret.
I mean, look, I could say Pong, but
It's not a bad guess.
I don't think it's Pong. It's probably not Pong. And I'm trying to think if there's any others I know that are like pre-1973. And the only one I can think of... it's probably not Space Race.
You're in the kind of right genre.
No, okay. Well, what? All right, what is it?
It is computer space.
Computer space. Okay.
It
Dang.
is computer space.
It's a good
Can
question.
confirm.
That's a good question.
Ryan's flexing deservedly.
He's like, well, I recently watched.
That's exactly how I sound. So thank you. That was a great impression. I
That's
appreciate
my
it.
impression, yeah.
Guys, watch Soylent Green because I'm kind of a film buff. It's people.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. All right. Let's move on to the week's headlines. Third-party games have reportedly struggled to sell on Nintendo Switch 2 at launch, with one publisher claiming that its game has sold below our lowest estimates. While the Nintendo Switch 2 hardware has enjoyed record-breaking launch sales, some third-party publishers have reportedly found that the console's success hasn't translated to a thriving third-party market yet. In a new report from the game business, it's claimed that other than CD Projekt Red's Cyberpunk 2077, most third-party games have struggled to sell on Switch 2. Most third-party Switch 2 games posted very low numbers, the report reads. One third-party publisher characterized the numbers as below our lowest estimates, despite strong hardware sales. According to the report, 62% of Switch 2 physical game sales in the US during the console's launch week came from first-party titles. This excludes the Mario Kart World Bundle, which accounted for the vast majority of console sales in the region. There are numerous potential reasons for the relatively slow start for third-party games on Switch 2. The high attach rate for Mario Kart World implies that a lot of players are happy enough to play that for now and explore the rest of the lineup once they're done with Mario Kart. Switch 2's backwards compatibility also means players have a number of other games they can play at launch, most notably the 12 first-party Switch games that were given free updates, improving them on Switch 2. The lack of media reviews on third-party Switch 2 games and the resistance by some players to accept the game keycard format could also have contributed to large third-party launch sales. In addition, the majority of third-party Switch 2 launch titles were also ports of games that had been released earlier on other consoles, meaning it's likely that players who wanted those games had already found a way to buy them by now. So I think this article just kind of answered its own question.
Right. All right, now on to the next one.
Now discuss.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people buy a Switch. So they bought a Switch, buying a Switch 2, strictly for Nintendo-style games. Let's be honest. That's a vast majority of it. That's why people buy a Nintendo console, is because they have fantastic first-party games. And you don't really need to have a great gaming experience to venture outside of what Nintendo offers from a first-party perspective. I mean, they cover every genre that you can think of, even shooters, right? Hey, Splatoon. That's my boy. And so add on top of that the fact that these games are available on every other platform out there, realistically. I mean, a lot of them were re-releases, right? You could get away with that when the Wii U came out. I mean, a lot of times you were re-releases of first-party games, but because no one played the Wii U, the Switch did amazingly well. So you can't reuse that formula for the Switch 2. So at the end of the day, this is almost like a I could have seen this coming kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
I am glad to see that people are embracing Cyberpunk 2077 though on the console. I think that was a risk by CD Projekt Red, and I hope it looks like it's panning out for them. But yeah, I'm the least bit surprised that this is the case.
Yeah, I mean, this is Nintendo. This is in their DNA to do this, because they what you were just saying. It reminds me of the Wii. We talk about the Switch, right? So the Switch was incredibly successful. So was the Wii, right? And what was right after both, right? So we had the Wii U. When the Wii U came out, I remember watching that conference and seeing all the games they were talking about. And it's like, oh, we've got Batman Arkham City Armored Edition. It's not the same game, but it is. And they kept having to, there was a lot of goodwill that, and Nintendo sometimes does this. It's like the goodwill they had built up with the Wii. They kind of shot themselves in the foot, and they came out and they were like, yeah, the Wii U, you'll buy it, because you bought a Wii. And I don't think that's happening with the Switch 2, but I will say that I noticed some parallels when you look at the third-party releases. Plus, we're pretty early on, and like you said, most people they really wanted Mario Kart. They wanted, just an update to what they've been using since 2017 is when the Switch came out. So we've got more power, bigger screen, all that kind of great stuff. It's a natural progression, and I'm fine with that. And I'm glad they stuck with the Switch, the Switch, method. But it's definitely, it's early on. This is typical Nintendo. Like, you're going to upgrade the games you already have, and here's some other ones that you'll maybe buy, right? Cyberpunk being a little different, like you said, like that's a pretty big deal, and I'm glad that that's panning out for them. But I have a Switch too, and I got one because I'm ready for Metroid Prime 4. Like, there's games coming out that I'm really excited for, so I'm just like, all right, I'm ready for those when they come out. I'm good for now. I've got plenty of Switch games that I can play. So I'm not surprised by this. That this was I kind of saw this coming.
And honestly, what you both own a Switch 2. Did either of you purchase any third-party games?
No, I didn't
Not a
purchase
one.
any games.
Yeah,
No.
not a one. I mean, it. Looking at their launch lineup is like, really, this is it. This is what you're going with. It was Mario Kart, and then it was like a dozen games that have been out for 4 years already.
Right.
Yeah.
And everybody's already played. I am even surprised to see that Cyberpunk 2077 is getting yet another like boost on Switch 2. I guess there must have been a population of solo Switch owners who never had the chance to play it who were interested in it.
Sure.
But everything else is just kind of like, yeah, I don't care. Even though I've heard fantastic things about the Breath of the Wild games and their upgrades on Switch 2, like, I don't care. I already played that. They were amazing games, but I already played that. The only thing that I've gotten is Mario Kart World. So in a lot of ways, this seems like a little bit of arrogance on the part of, I don't know, everyone,
Right.
Nintendo and all the third-party publishers, where they're like, well, we just put it out and people will buy it. I mean, it's that easy. And we know it's old, but we'll just, polish it up and put it back out, and they'll think it's brand new. And to their credit, a lot of time that works. But
Yeah.
it's not working this time. And maybe I think a lot of it does have to do with the game key cards, which are a bullshit innovation.
I
And
disregard
I'm glad to
those.
I'm glad to see that people see that. And then, I lost my train of thought for what other point I had. But, also the higher price point of the Switch 2 maybe affected how many games people could realistically buy on launch.
Right.
Instead of buying 2 or 3, you just bought the one.
Right. From a budget
And then, I mean,
standpoint,
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I didn't buy any games. I just got the base Switch 2 because I was like, okay, well, good. I can play the games that I already have physically because I have such a large physical game collection for the Switch. And a lot of the games that I have are actually on the cart, like the full games there.
Right.
And
Novel
I can
concept now.
Yeah. So I'm just kind of like, well, I can play those. And honestly, they look great. Like they play better. They look great. It does make improvements to a lot of those games. So for me, it was more like, well, the Switch hardware has been around since 2017. This is a natural upgrade. It's a lot bigger. Blue, I don't know about you, but I felt like the Switch 2, even though it's not that much bigger, like technically feels a lot bigger.
It's a
in
hefty
your
boy.
hands. It's a hefty boy, and it's just a nicer. It's a nice console. Like it's a good way for me to future-proof myself without my physical game collecting nonsense that I've been doing for so long. Like I'm just going to keep doing that, and I've got a huge Switch library there to use. So there you go.
Yeah, it was a very pleasant surprise booting up the Switch 2 for the first time, finally getting that data transfer right, which took forever. As I made a joke in a Discord, like that's the most difficult final boss that I ever faced on the Switch 2 was that damn
Just waiting
data
for the transfer. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, having it transfer and having everything from the Switch 1's there. All your save files, all your games, they're on the Switch 2. And you just, if you wanted to, just get rid of your Switch 1. You literally don't need it now. I'm not going to do that, but it's nice. It's nice, I guess, to have that much availability at your fingertips on day one. Which, again,
Yes.
why do you need to buy third-party games that are 4 years old if you have all of that?
Yeah. And like
Yeah.
Ryan said, that's not where they're there. They're there for the first-party games. That's why I'm there.
Yeah.
I'll get the third-party games
exactly.
if I'm interested, but
Yeah, you can
right
get those
now I'm
on
good.
Steam on a sale for, $12.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Jessica Starr says, hopefully some indies vaulting onto the system over the summer, launch window at least, but enough games everywhere that they have a grace period.
It's true. This is the beginning. A lot of people rush to get it.
Yeah.
They're hard to find right now, so there has got to be some of that, cool down phase so that they can start selling more of these. You captured everybody who wanted to buy one for essentially Mario Kart World, maybe one or two other games, right? That's just,
Right.
yeah. You got your audience. They bit early, and everybody else can limp in.
And we bid
Yep.
hard.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yes.
Fall Before Me says, key cards are the worst of both worlds. Agreed.
And he said everyone agrees as well.
Yeah, everyone
Yeah,
agrees.
I don't think anybody is on board for those key cards.
Yeah.
I haven't talked to anybody who's like, yeah, that sounds great. I don't know what they were thinking with that.
XP the Cat said, I will say I just finished replaying Super Mario Odyssey on the Switch 2, and it does have some nice graphical enhancements. So, I agree. I think that there's certainly games that will play better and will look better. I just don't know if that's what's selling these consoles, essentially.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No,
Nice perk.
Yeah, it's a perk, exactly. It's a feature. It's not why you buy it.
yeah.
Yep.
But it's like I said, I know what's coming.
Right.
You know, I know what's down the pipeline. I saw Metro Prime 4 and I was like, yeah, okay, you got me.
That probably sold half the Switch 2s right there.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just knowing that Metro Prime 4 was coming. We better get in now.
My problem is that I haven't bought one yet because I keep going on to Facebook Marketplace and finding like really rare stuff for a pretty decent price. So I've been spending all my money. Like I picked up a boxed Atari Jaguar the other day, and then I picked up the cocktail arcade cabinet. I can't stop.
It's hard.
I can't
It's
stop.
hard.
It was a very pretty Jaguar box, though.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you that. All right, next up. Fan favorite rhythm game Beat Saber is ending support for PlayStation consoles. From here on in, you shouldn't expect any further updates or music packs if you play on PS4 or PS5. And from January 21st, 2026, multiplayer support will also be withdrawn. Our passion for VR remains unwavering. We are excited about the possibilities that lie ahead and what we can bring to Beat Saber fans who have been on this journey with us over the past 7 years, the developer explained in a new FAQ. The update stressed that you will still be able to play Beat Saber and have access to all your previously purchased content, and cross-buy remains active between the PS4 and PS5 base game. You can also still buy songs and music packs that were released on or before June 18, just nothing that may be added to the catalog from now on. For many players, this feels very much like the final nail in the coffin for PlayStation's VR aspirations, as Beat Saber is still one of PlayStation's biggest VR titles. Fans seem split between laying the blame with Sony and the lack of support it is given to its VR headset, and Meta wanting their game to be the best on Quest. Hashtag best on Quest. Despite its impressive technical specs, the PSVR 2 seemingly lost momentum following its release in 2023. In June last year, Android Central reported that Sony made deep cuts to funding for VR, with only new lease on life by adding PC VR support. But mentions of the device have been few and far between since. PSVR 2 recently dropped to match its all-time low price thanks to the PlayStation Days of Play sale.
Stop trying to make VR happen. It's not gonna happen.
It's never gonna happen.
Oh,
Weren't you the one who said you never seen Mean Girls?
I've seen GIFs all over the internet.
You haven't seen Mean Girls, Ryan?
I was gonna say that was perfect, and I was hoping
Classic.
in my heart of hearts that you had gone and watched it as a response to.
We have Patreon movie night. I will watch it.
It's a
then.
good movie. Yeah, you should.
Yeah, see, you fall before me says, but Ryan, it's so fetch. Doogie Forever says, I
like
thought
a-
I heard Meat Saber. Oh my.
Rawr.
No, that's a mod, and that's for the kids. I gotta say, I'm a VR guy. Okay, so I get it. Like I've been using the Quest for a while, right? So I had the first Quest, then I got the Quest 2, now I have the Quest 3. And I've got a PSVR 2. I bought one right after they released it, like a dope. And it's great. It's a great piece of hardware, but they definitely have not supported it. Like,
No.
there's just not been a lot. Like, there's some really, really great games on there, and I will say, like, VR is it's just a different thing, right? It's a different experience. I know by now a lot of people have tried it and they've played. You know, most people have played only Beat Saber. But I've played a lot of different games on VR and had some really fun experiences. This past, was it maybe a week or two ago, me and Gabby and a couple of our friends played Hitman VR. We would pass it to each other and just go into maps and just cause chaos. And it was so fun and funny. And that's the kind of thing that's great with VR. It's just you can do stuff that you can't do in regular games. But I don't understand why they fumbled the bag so hard. Like, they
really
have a
did.
nice piece of tech here, and yeah, putting it on PC makes it better. That's way better.
Yeah.
But you can do that with the Quest. You can do the exact same thing with the Quest. The Quest 3 is a pretty solid piece of tech now. Like, it's a pretty good overall headset, and you get those graphics boosts by just streaming that, you know, to your headset from your PC. So you get the same, if not better, graphics than you get on the PSVR 2. So I don't know. It's a bummer. You know, it feels like they released it and it didn't do the numbers they wanted, and then they just stopped talking about it.
You know, I think one of the issues you had with the PSVR and PSVR 2, and correct me if I'm wrong, but that was not a standalone product. You have to have owned a PlayStation in order to get it to work, correct?
Right.
Where the Quest, you can just own by itself, right?
You don't need anything.
Right.
You just need the Quest.
Exactly. So when it comes to the amount of monetary investment that you need to have, you not only need to be a console gamer, you also need to be a VR gamer. You need to be willing to spend that much money for it and then buy the games on top of that. And so that market keeps, shrinking every time you add a and then onto it.
Right.
So I think that was one of the biggest faults of this, is that Sony could have just come out with this as being a standalone option for people.
Yeah.
And it would have probably sold better. Maybe not great, but at least better, because of the requirements weren't there. And Beat Saber itself is probably the thing that sold a lot of these, because that is such a fun game. I mean, people play this on Twitch all the time. It's a fan favorite. Let's say
it's the most popular VR game.
Exactly. Right. And it's fun. It is super, super fun. So I get why people are into this. And I think VR hasn't found its niche yet in the gaming space because of all the other limitations that come from it. And so I want VR to happen. I really do. I want that to be a part of it. I want it to be that full experience. Eventually I want it to include haptics, so that you're really immersed in the game. It's just not there yet. And then
you can hook up your Sega activator to it.
There we go.
Oh, that's a deep code reference. Well done.
I had to drop it. Oh, God.
Yeah. See, I think that PSVR 2, where PSVR 1 enjoyed a lot of success, PSVR 2, I think, joins a long and distinguished line of consoles that put the tech first and the games second. So you have
right.
And we're super expensive also, in addition. So you've got 3DO, CDI, like all of those ones that were just like, they're how much? And you've got the number of games you've got, I could count on 3 or 4 fingers. So
right.
This is unusual move for PlayStation 2 or for Sony, because you think about how they made their bread and butter on PlayStation 3 generation. They had so many killer IPs that saw their launch there that still carry them to this day.
Right.
And it's like they forgot how they got successful. It was the games. It was never the hardware. But when it came to VR, they're just like, people will just buy it because it's cool. We don't actually need to put out games for it. We'll just borrow games from Meta. And then Meta says, well, actually, we want to take our most popular game and we want it just to be ours, which was a little surprising. They didn't do that to begin with, but, Meta has its own problems.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, I'm not surprised to see this happening at all.
But to your point, Blue, I mean, when you put the tech in front of the games, it just becomes a gimmick, right? It's a novelty, and that wears off. It doesn't have longevity to it. You're not going to want to keep coming back to it. And let's be honest, not everybody can even handle a VR headset anyway, right?
Right.
So
hands raised,
right, add that on top of it. It's just not a good look. And I feel like VR, though, we've been trying every 7-10 years to try to make VR come to life. And yes, it gets advancements, and yes, it starts to get better. But I've used this analogy before. It's like fusion power. It's always 50 years away, right? No matter what year it is, it's always 50 years away. And we need, if we want to make VR a real thing, you need to figure out how to make it not nauseous for everybody who plays. Create games that are unique to the VR rather than trying to like port stuff over, right? And make it cost effective.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, this was already perfected years ago on the Virtual Boy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's where VR truly peaked. But no, I mean, I agree with you. And that's coming from someone who, loves this stuff.
Right.
Like it's niche, and it's got diehard people. Like, it's got a diehard base of people who love it. That's all they do. But they're in their own group. They're in their own little, fan base, and they all they go to their message boards and everything. And I've been in there, and there's a lot of people that really, like I said, this is how they game. They don't play regular games.
Right.
They only play VR.
Right.
And some of them got into gaming with that way. And I think it does need to keep improving, but it's like the whole Guitar Hero thing. You need to stop releasing it, like keep releasing revisions. The guitar controller was already good.
Right.
We don't need a new one.
Right.
Don't, wait until it gets much better.
Are you
and
sure
then,
you don't need a new one?
Sure? Okay. No, the Guitar Hero 3 controller was the best one. I'm just going to throw that out there. That was the best guitar they made. But but that's the thing. Like they just, our Rock Band 2 drum kit now it's the same thing. Okay. I'm sorry. It's just like, they need to wait until that next leap happens. Like I understand you need to improve it and everything, but like Ryan said, it needs to be at a point where people can feel, like this is not just a gimmick. There's the software sells, and Beat Saber sells. VR would not be where it is right now without Beat Saber. Beat Saber is actually what gave it the legs that it has.
Oh,
now.
yeah.
I would say that for sure. Because anybody can. My mom has played it. Okay, my mom's in her 70s.
Oh wow!
And she thought it was amazing, and it's one of those things where it's like, this is how you do it, So, but them losing that, it's like, okay, well, the other games they have are really nice, but you got to convince people to, to adopt it that way, and it's just hard to do.
Yeah. Ducks in Disguise says, and make the headset comfortable. Nobody wants the world's worst designed ski goggles on while gaming.
That's a great point. I always have to buy third-party headsets every time I get one, or straps. Yeah.
Right.
See, and Webhead says, Guitar Hero VR would be super cheap. Just use an air guitar.
I've been doing that since Bill and Ted.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what, Patrick, when you were making that last point, I heard Meat Saber too. I did.
You heard Meat Saber.
I heard Meat Saber.
Yeah.
And the chat has been having a field day with Meat Saber jokes.
You're looking for the mod pack right now.
All right, next up. So we've got Sony fumbling VR, and then Xbox says the limited edition Xbox branded MetaQuest 3S headset has arrived. This version of the headset comes in Xbox classic black aesthetic with a green trim and a matching Xbox wireless controller and Touch Plus controllers. The MetaQuest 3S Xbox edition has 128 gigabytes of storage and comes with an elite strap, as well as 3 months of access to both Meta Horizon Plus and Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. With the latter, you can play games via the cloud on the Xbox app, including supporting games you own that are not part of the Game Pass Ultimate catalog. At $400, this bundle costs quite a bit more than the standard $300 MetaQuest 3S. Microsoft says that the MetaQuest 3S Xbox Edition is available now, but quantities are extremely limited. The Xbox app with cloud gaming support has been available on Quest headsets since late 2023. Still, this partnership aligns with Microsoft's push to have Xbox games accessible on as many devices as possible. The company recently announced Xbox-branded Asus ROG Ally hand gaming PCs that will be available later this year, and it has hinted at a more open future for the Xbox platform.
Can you do me a favor?
What did I do wrong?
No. I just want you to say the MetaQuest 3S Xbox Edition 3 times fast. 3 times fast.
No, I worked so
It's
hard.
really hard to do.
There's so many long names in that article.
I applaud Blue for getting through that. That was tough.
I'm exhausted now.
Yeah, you can take a break. Yeah, this is hilarious to me. Yeah, just like the whole Xbox, everything, this whole change that they've been doing and hearing about this is pretty funny.
Well, I think one of the interesting parts for this is that the Asus ROG Ally was a device before Xbox branded on top of it. This is a device before Xbox branded on top of it. So yes, they are giving access to the Xbox library, which if I understand though, right, Asus ROG had access to Game Pass, so you could play it on there. And
yeah, I have one. It does.
Right. And then on top of that, you've got MetaQuest, which has access to a lot of these games already. So what are you buying with these? Is it the brand? Yeah, I mean, you don't get me wrong, aesthetic. I mean, I know a lot of people that spend money on skins in a game, things that you'll never see outside of the game. So I won't knock that, but I just seems like a strange move from Microsoft, and not knocking Xbox, because Xbox has obviously been a pioneer of the gaming space for a long time, but I just don't understand what this transition period is. It's just like slap our brand on something and call it new. It's like old wine, new bottles kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Jessica Starr says, yes, take Xbox's convoluted naming conventions and pair it with another company, too.
Right.
We don't have a chance. We don't have a chance, you guys.
No, this is, I mean, it aligns, like what we said, it aligns with what they're doing. Everything is an Xbox now. That's their new slogan, is this is an Xbox, right?
Yeah.
So they're
Yeah.
doing that. And fine. I mean, I'm bummed out about it. I hate to see what we all grew up with, the consistent console wars coming to an end. This pretty much signals that for them.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this is what they're doing. And that's fine, if that's what they're going to do. But I get it to an extent. And yeah, there is that integration with the ROG Ally. The Game Pass is on there. It works really well. The new integration on the Xbox version is going to be way different. I watched a preview for it. And it also looks ergonomically much better. So I will say that the Xbox controller is a really nice controller. And
Absolutely.
I think that having that grip on a handheld is going to be really nice. But yeah, this aligns with what they're doing. It makes sense to me. And it probably will sell VR headsets to Xbox fans who are looking for something to buy with an Xbox logo on it.
Yeah. And you think about it, like, in a lot of ways, this feels like they're half-assing their efforts. We're going to have another company do our VR headset, and we'll just put our name on it. We're going to have another company do our handheld, and we'll just put our name on it. But if you think about it, the risk is a fraction of what Sony is taking on when they're putting out their own actual units of these things.
Yeah.
And whereas Sony is they're failing with their VR headset, and their portable is kind of struggling. So Xbox can go out and do this, very little risk. If it succeeds, great. Maybe next time they cut out the third party and they do it all in house. They certainly have the capability to do that. But if it sucks, then they just kind of, it was a one-time thing, whatever, and they go back to whatever it is their new plan. Yeah. So this is really super smart on their part.
I think it is.
And honestly, this is not the first time that a company has done that. So, like, the 3DO company actually leased out the production of their consoles to, firstly, Panasonic, and then when Panasonic was like, well, this ain't selling shit. They dropped the label. Gold Star picked it up, which eventually became LG, and there was one other one I can't remember off the top of my head, but that, for the 3DO company, that was like printing gold, right? All they had to do was just license it out, and winner, chicken dinner. They didn't have to get involved in any of the logistics or any of that crap. They just took money and ran with it. So,
Yeah.
You take care of the manufacturing costs and all that stuff. We'll put our branding on it. You're welcome.
Right.
And if it doesn't work out, then okay, sorry.
Right. Yeah. You're going to make the thing. If it makes profit, then you owe us. But if it loses, then that's all on you. So, yeah. That's fair.
Like, we gave you a shot. Good luck.
All right. And last up, a man has been arrested after police say he stole more than $10,000 worth of Nintendo Switch games from multiple public libraries in Northern California. The Marin County Sheriff's Office posted on Facebook that it arrested 45-year-old Oakland man Jamal Reed Obafumi on June 17, alleging that he was connected to a string of at least 7 different burglaries of Marin County libraries. Police say the man stole around $10,000 worth of Switch video games between April and June 2025 from various area library branches. According to police, he faces 12 felony charges, which include multiple counts of burglary and committing a felony while out on bail.
Ooh.
Our libraries are pillars of the community and must be safeguarded for everyone to enjoy, this sheriff's department wrote in the past. The 7 libraries that had Switch games stolen were not named, but the Marin County Free Library lists close to 200 Switch games available to borrow. And this original article says, also unknown as whether or not any of the games were recovered, but I saw an update today that said the Marin County Sheriff's Office has confirmed to Eurogamer some of the Switch games stolen from the libraries were recovered. The investigation into the theft of the Switch games is still ongoing.
Don't look under my mattress.
This is
Well, the Switch games are so tiny. I mean, if you wanted to, you could
Easy
hide
to
them. Nobody
steal.
would ever find them.
no.
You know, you got to sign up for a library card in order to go in and... There was a paper trail, is all I'm saying.
Ramboski says he's fucked.
Yeah.
Nintendo will get directly involved in this one.
I mean,
You never know. But it's
I
come
never
on,
put it past
library.
Nintendo.
Leave the libraries alone.
I know. Come on.
Come on.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Already-
could give you the address of someone that I know that has way more than $10,000 worth of Switch games.
That was a little tickly.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's interesting because I mean you're right. You have to sign up for a library card. You have to put your name in when you check these things out. And then if the stealing part is interesting because like if you check out a book and you just don't return it, you forget whatever, you lose it, they just charge you for the price of the book.
Right.
Why? I wonder why that didn't happen here.
I wonder. It's possible he could have just walked into the library and gone up to the cases and taken the games, or found where the games were and took them.
that's a good call.
I mean,
And not checked them
you know,
out.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love to assume that they don't keep the Switch games in the cases on the rack. That would be dumb. But
Right.
maybe they did. You know, maybe they
Well, that's
did
on
do
them.
that. Yeah, but I mean, he could have found where they stored all of them and just said, you know, look, this is a gold mine. I'm going to wait till someone's not looking and I'm going to grab them. So that could have happened.
Yeah, and
knows?
not just at one library, at many libraries.
You know, he got away with it at one. Nobody did anything. He waited a month, right? Joy played some of the games. Maybe sold a few on eBay, and he was like, you know what? This is a cash cow. And just... boop, 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 boop. And where does one stop? After 7? That's not where you stop. You keep
No.
going. You keep going to different
Yeah.
states, right? You set up like a whole ring of people, like, you know?
No library would be safe from
Right.
this man.
And then he like fills a duffel bag with all the games and buries them in the snow and puts in like a, you know, a little scraper so he can come find them later. And then someone finds it and opens it and realizes it's 200 copies of Ring Fit.
This isn't the pandemic. Nobody plays Ring Fit anymore.
Hey, they do now.
Yeah, if I was going to steal something from libraries, I don't know if I would go with Switch games.
Just
Yeah, what would you steal, Blue?
smut books, I would imagine.
Yeah. Okay. He's like, I've
There's
already
a
done that.
variety of literature.
That's how she knows about the paper trail. She's like, look, I tried this.
Pardon me, could you point me to the erotica section?
Yeah.
I'll only be a moment.
Or 2 or 3. Yes, no need to stay back here with me. Just
God.
I would steal Thomas the Tank Engine DVDs. Hey, you know, especially if they're like the
Rainbow.
old British ones. Yeah, those might be worth something.
I used to check out Mr. Bean and what was it? Yeah, Reading Rainbow.
Yep. When they were
Videos.
VHS tapes, yeah.
VHS tapes. Yep.
Reading Rainbow would be cool.
It was so good.
Butterfly
Yeah, I
in
could burn
the
an entire
sky.
weekend just binging Reading
The
Rainbow.
Mr. Bean was like my favorite though. I loved watching Mr. Bean videos.
Doogie Forever says, I would steal the heart of the shy librarian.
Mm.
Oh.
Well said, sir. Well said.
There was some spicy anime movies there.
Blue, can you confirm?
I have no idea what you're talking about. I know that they do have a lot of manga there that I was like, oh,
Okay.
snap. I never knew this was here.
Let's put these in my coat.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to our top 3 new releases.
All right, first up is Tamagotchi Plaza for Switch, a shop simulator game nurturing dreams in the Tamagotchi world. Treat cavities. Oh, okay. I didn't read the second part. Cavities at the dentist. Make the perfect pair of glasses at the eyewear shop. Create table settings of sweets and drink to fulfill customers' orders at afternoon tea shop. Help save Tamagotchi at 12 unique shops and grow your shop's reputation, enticing new Tamagotchi to visit your shops. Next up, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Splintered Fate, Xbox Series X and S and Xbox One. In TMNT Splintered Fate, brace yourself for fast-paced roguelike action where no 2 runs are the same. With randomized power-ups, room layouts, and boss modifiers, the excitement never ends. Take control of all 4 turtles, each wielding unique powers, and team up with friends for bodacious co-op play. Explore iconic New York City locations, upgrade your turtle powers, and prepare to face off against formidable enemies. And last up, Death Stranding 2 on the beach, which is such a crappy name.
You're not allowed to criticize Kojima.
Oh, I apologize. I'm sorry. How dare I? PS5. Embark on an inspiring mission of human connection. Sam, with companions by his side, set on a new journey to save humanity from extinction. Join them as they traverse a world beset by otherworldly enemies, obstacles, and a haunting question. Should we have connected? Step by step, legendary game creator Hideo Kojima changes the world once again. So, taking a look at these, Blue, what are you in for this week?
I'm going to say nada this week.
Really?
Yeah.
I was sure you were going to go with Tamagotchi.
Not even some turtle love.
You know, that's my jam. Okay, so Death Stranding 2 on the beach. I did not care for the first Death Stranding, which I think is a well-known fact. I know so many people who are hyped for this, and you know what? I hope you all have the best week of your lives. I'm going to go ahead and skip it, though. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Splintered Fate. Looks cool. Honestly, like a roguelike beat-em-up kind of action game thing.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though. How many Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle games have we gotten in the last 3 years?
Not enough.
I was going to say, like,
There's never enough Teenage Mutant anything.
I'm not sure why this is different than the other half dozen Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle games that are already in my backlog. So maybe
More
one
bodacious.
day. You're right. It's more bodacious. But for now, I'm just going to hold off. Maybe it'll go in a crazy sale. I'll pick it up then.
Mm-hmm.
The Tamagotchi Plaza. I know that people love cozy games, but this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And
I haven't even seen this.
I don't know if normally I'm just willing to let cozy games kind of live and let live. And I don't know if it's because that we grew up with Tamagotchis. We know what they were. And it's like, let's take this thing and let's turn it into something else and keep it going. It's like, no.
Yeah.
You're not preserving the integrity and the spirit of what Tamagotchi was born into. Like, if you don't walk around that plaza and have to clean up their poop if you've been gone too long, it's not a Tamagotchi game. I don't care.
You can't kill them.
This week, so this week I'll have none of it.
Okay.
So basically, Blue wants a game in which you can shovel shit all day long. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Shit Shoveler Simulator.
You know what? There's a lot of integrity in shit shovel simulator.
I shouldn't have given you
5 times fast. 5 times fast.
I can't.
Shit Shoveler Simulator.
I used it all earlier.
Pat, what about
First
you?
game I'm making. Okay, so I mean, I love the Tamagotchi thing. I haven't even seen, so I can't comment on it. I had a Tamagotchi and I loved it when it was relevant. Now, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Obviously, Brian, you know, I'm a turtle fan. We're turtle boys. We grew up with them. I probably will check it out at some point. But Death Stranding 2 is interesting because I am playing Death Stranding right now.
Interesting.
I'm in the middle of it. I'm about 40, almost 45 hours in.
Dang.
So here's what I'll say. I put off playing the game for years because I saw some other people playing it and I was like, don't think I want to play that. Right. And I love Kojima. I mean, I like a lot of Kojima's games. I love Metal Gear. I love Snatcher, Police Knots. Love all the guy's stuff. But I didn't know if I wanted to play this. Well, I finally did. And I started it, played for about 2 hours and was like, I don't know if I want to play this.
Right.
Picked it back up a few weeks later and put in another 6 hours. And then something happened and it just clicked. And now I'm obsessed with it. And I think it's just, I am finally kind of seeing what the game is trying to do. And I'm usually not that way. I'm usually like, look, you got to hook me. And sometimes sometimes I can wait a little while, but if the game doesn't hook me early on, I'm usually not into it. But there was something compelling about this where I was like, how can they make this work? I mean, I'm delivering packages and then it just worked. And now I get it and I'm having fun and I don't know how to explain that. It's just, I can't wait to play it again because I'm having so much fun with it. So I'm super excited for Death Stranding 2 now.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm. And I've already pre-ordered it, and I'm not even finished with the first one.
Wow.
So, yeah.
I fell off the game is 6 hours, so maybe I was
get it.
2 hours away from just
I
like
get it.
being right there. But
It takes
Yeah.
a long time. It takes a long time
Yeah.
to get to where you're like, okay, this is not just walking around with packages. Like, it does change, but it's like you have to get there, and that's
Yeah.
hard. And it's not, and I don't expect everybody to do that. And you can't expect everybody to do that.
and
yeah.
at the beginning, it's like, do you want to give this delivery a like? And I'm like, the hell are you talking about? It
Yeah.
really lost me trying to force that kind of social media integration to it.
Right. So, yeah, I would say
Yeah.
probably those two. Tamagotchi, I'll look it up after this, but no, probably not.
Okay. What about you, Ryan?
It's also a goose egg for me this week. So I will say Tamagotchi looks, as you pointed out, boring, so snoozy boring. And then with the Switch 2 coming out, there's 3 extra shops, so you can be a sushi chef if you want to. And then you can use the mouse controls with it, and you can take your hand over the top of the control and go this and do like shuriken stuff.
I just Googled it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is bizarre.
Yeah.
I mean, again, if that's your thing, not knocking it, just
Yeah,
not
I mean,
for me.
look,
But-
if someone
but I
gets
mean-
joy out of this, I'm happy for them.
This is one of the core like new releases on Switch and Switch 2 that I think they were counting on. And this ain't it, you guys.
Is it out already?
Yeah.
Or is it?
Yeah.
It is out, and it's not selling well.
I mean, I don't know. It's like brand new.
Oh my god, let's watch it blow up.
It might. And we
It very well
get
might.
lots of hate mail. I don't know, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
Death Stranding, I didn't get into the first one, so I was planning on doing it. If actually Blue sent me her copy for PS4.
I was like, I don't want this. You want to try it?
Right. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to try this out. And then like all the news came out from like Kojima, who was going like, oh, Westerners don't get it. So like, and that just like, I don't know, kind of put me off. I was like, well then,
Yeah.
So never tried
Yeah.
Death Stranding 1, so I don't know if Death Stranding is kind of game where you can get in on the second entry and get it. So that's my fear with it. I'll have to wait till somebody
Right.
tells me if that's the case or not. It's like certain movies you can get into the second one and not have to worry about having explained what happened in the first one. If that's the
Right.
case, cool. I'll check it out. Where TMNT, I love TMNT games. I'm not that great at roguelikes though. I like the aesthetic and feel of like a Diablo game. Sometimes it's exciting to me, but this one just, I don't know. Everything looks small, and I have shit eyes because I'm over 40. So I feel like the entire time I'm just gonna be like, what's
Aren't you older
That
than
happening?
40?
Leonardo
like-
or Donatello?
Right.
2 weeks.
No,
Yep.
I get it.
And it all goes downhill from there. The minute you turn 40, it's like, oh, back pain.
2
Oh,
weeks
really
worth
does.
of-
thicker
yeah,
glasses,
okay. Yeah.
oh man,
Yeah.
there's
Okay.
way more white in my beard.
Me too. God,
Right.
what is happening?
So at the end of the day, I know I'd struggle to play it, honestly. And I'll stick to the beat 'em ups, the 2D beat 'em ups, and my Turtles in Time, and those kinds of.
Hyperstone.
Yep, you know it. And be perfectly happy.
Yeah, that's what I want.
Yeah.
Play some Shredder's Revenge. Should be good. Call it a day.
Yoongi Forever says, I love Ninja Turtles, and I would go for Death Stranding 2, Death Harder.
Much better
That's
name.
what they should have called
Way better name.
Yeah.
Like instead of like
Yeah.
at the
Yeah.
beach,
GoldenEye says, I played it hard when it came out for Xbox, but something else shiny showed up, and Death Stranding is just sitting on my digital shelf collecting dust. XB the Cat is predicting a Tamagotchi sweep. We'll see.
We shall see.
Watch
we
it
shall
happen.
see.
Yeah. Scratches that Animal Crossing itch, maybe. I don't know.
No, it doesn't. It's just all
It
shops. It's like
It's just
Oh.
itchy.
it's like a crappy version.
It's just itchy,
of-
not tasty.
Right. You need
Got it.
both for a good balance.
Okay.
and
It
it's
looks
just
like
right.
overcooked with mini games, is what it looks like to me.
Okay. No.
No.
Okay.
Gaming Again says he speaks the truth. Every year after 40 has been a delightful discovery of new pains and broken parts.
It's so true.
The struggle is real.
Ugh.
All right, you guys want to move on?
Sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's me. Sorry.
I'm not a regular, guys. Okay.
All right, so before we move on, let's take a quick break to talk about our sponsor. This segment is proudly sponsored by the Retro Game Club podcast. It's a fantastic, family-friendly retro gaming podcast. In each episode, Rob and a guest pick 2 games to play and discuss, as well as news, interviews, and other topics. This week, they're playing through Metroid Fusion and Mega Man 5. Visit them at rogameclub.net or follow the link in the show notes.
Did somebody mess up?
Retro, scratch that. Let's rewind. Retrogameclub.net or follow the link in the show notes. Don't go to Ro.
That might be something you don't want to go to. Yeah.
Or maybe
don't
you
go there.
do. You know what you're doing.
That's where they keep the mods. For
I
Beat Saber.
apologize. I had a copy paste accident.
It's all good. It's all good.
Webhead says Pat not realizing it's his turn is a great tribute. I was gonna make a similar joke, and I was waiting for Pat to finish speaking.
Yeah.
But yes, Donnie
Look,
does it all the time.
That made my
channeled
night.
I channeled my inner Donnie tonight by drinking 7 White Claws before. So I'm here and I'm ready, and I got them out of my Xbox fridge.
Well done. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Metroid Fusion and Mega Man 5.
Love Metroid Fusion.
Never played Metroid Fusion.
So good.
Is that one of the 3D versions?
No, Fusion came out, I think, the same day or very close to Metroid Prime. So it was developed like in tandem with that. So
Gotcha.
it came out with the Game Boy Advance.
Oh, gotcha.
And it is very much like Super Metroid. So it's like more like that. So if you like Metroid Dread, if you liked Super Metroid, if you like Metroid Zero Mission, you would really like Fusion. Is probably one of the best.
The only thing I struggle with Metroid games is it's a where the fuck do I go?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
at first it's fun to explore, but there are points in the game which you will never find the little thing that you need to do unless you happen to know it or just are extremely lucky. And
That's why you pull out your strategy guide, Ryan.
right, but what's the fun in that?
Cheater!
Where
Look,
the
hey,
fuck
hey.
game?
I had no shame growing up reading my strategy guides.
You had the
I
power,
love
Nintendo
Had the
power.
No, it is a great game, and yeah, Metroidvanias in general are not everyone's cup of tea. Like, I get that, and sometimes I get frustrated. Like even Dread, I love Metroid Dread, but I got lost like several times, and I had to find some patience to get through those parts. But the overall package was so good that it made it worth it. And I'd say that for Fusion too.
And Mega Man
Mega
5
Man 5 sign.
happens to be the elusive Mega Man on the original
The White
Nintendo.
Whale Mega Man?
It is. It's weird. So 6 did better than 5, which that one I don't get. But Mega Man 5 was
is weird.
It is weird, yeah, and it's clearly the shift from 4 to 6 that it's that in between, right, where they just hadn't quite figured out the whole charge shots and everything like that. Just it wasn't like you said. It's weird, and so obviously it didn't sell well. But it's just surprising to me that your hardcore Mega Man fan base didn't just buy 5 and buy 6 as well. Like they just went, oh wait, 6 is out. Let's just check that out. Rather than go back and check out what was going on with 5. So.
It's weird. I have a pretty distinct memory of 5 because I'll tell a really short kind of brief thing, little story here. But when I was young, I was probably 93, 94. I was not doing well in school because I had ADHD and I still do. So I was doing really bad, but they came up with a way to give me points. My teacher was like, we'll give you points for every time you answer a question or you made it kind of engaging. And then they would give that to my parents. And my parents said, if you got this many points, we'll get you a game. Right.
Oh, that's
so that
legit.
worked.
Ooh.
Exactly. So it took a while, but I finally got enough points. We went to Toys R Us and we went to the famous ticket wall where you would go up and, you'd take your little ticket out of the game, slip and go to the front. And I remember wanting to get a Mega Man game. And when I got there, they had Mega Man 4 and Mega Man 5, and I went with Mega Man 4. And I think 5 was actually, if my memory serves, 5 was cheaper.
That's funny.
even then. And I'm not sure if 6 was out then yet or not, but I remember thinking that 4 just looked cooler on the cover art because you had Pharaoh Man on the cover.
Yep.
And I love 4. 4 is one of my favorites because it was, you know how it is. It was one of the games I had. So, of course, it's one of my favorites. I grew up with it. So, I do really love Mega Man 4. I think 5, if memory serves me too, had a couple of bosses in it that were created by fans. They were sent into Nintendo Power.
I didn't know that.
Really?
Yeah. There was a contest, or it may have been in Japan. I could be remembering wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was 5. A couple of the bosses, one of them being Yamato Man, I believe, was a fan creation. And so, it's just a weird, bizarre game.
Seems like you should do an episode on something like that.
Maybe I should. Maybe I should just do a Mega Man 1 through 6 show.
I think you probably should.
Oh, God.
Gee, I wonder who you will have on there.
We come back for number 6.
Which would make sense. Mega Man 1 through 6. Come back for 6.
Okay. God, that'd be a long episode. We could split it up,
meta.
Brian. Yeah.
Part
and
2.
You would get a lot of punches for that. And you would get more than one pub sub.
I like that. More than one pub sub.
Yeah. I know Ben Magnet's in here. Ben Magnet's I've got a punch card with him.
There you go.
I'm waiting for my free sandwich, Ben. He knows.
Yeah.
See, he knows.
Ben is in here going, R.I.P. the ticket wall.
Yeah. Oh, good times.
All right. Welcome, everyone, to the very first ever Gamers Week debates where we waste time debating topics that don't matter. Tonight's debate is an age-old topic here on Gamers Week. Is the N64 overrated? My name is Blue Williams, and I will be the moderator for tonight's debate. Our participants are Mr. Ryan Payne, arguing on behalf of the affirmative, and Mr. Patrick Brickhouse, taking the side of the opposition. Gentlemen, I want a nasty, underhanded, gross exaggerations, yo mama jokes, and generalized Jerry Springer-worthy behavior is encouraged. Are we clear on the expectations for today?
Clear,
yeah,
but
I'm a sweet boy. I don't know if I can do that. I'm just kidding. For Ryan, I'll
Ryan,
I got that.
Your nasty side.
Wait, let me channel Donnie. Let me pop open another White Claw.
Got the Chat GPD your mama jokes for the N64.
Oh my God.
All right, gentlemen, if you're ready, we will begin with the affirmative opening summary. I have 45 seconds on the clock. Mr. Ryan Payne, you may begin.
So the question here is the N64 overrated? So if we're looking at it from that point of view, what does the term overrated mean? It's a subjective term, right? And the idea is that it is receiving praise beyond what objectively we would consider to be the correct amount of hype, if you will. And growing up, I think it was widely considered, at least for the N64, that it wasn't exactly as good as the Super Nintendo and that it was kind of like a downfall of Nintendo. But as I have been involved with social media lately, I've seen the N64 essentially referred to as the GOAT, the greatest of all time. And to me, that is an over-exaggeration of what the N64 was capable of. There's a lot of faults to it, including the controller.
Thank you, Mr. Payne. Your time is up.
Thank you. Almost got to a point. That was awesome.
She actually timed you. I didn't think that was real.
I did. Mr.
gosh.
Brickhouse, you may now begin your opposing opening summary.
The pressure's on. Okay, so I'll just simply say this. The N64 is not overrated. It is foundational.
Ooh.
It didn't just create games. It changed the way we play games. Okay? And it did this through a few different ways. Okay? Despite its flaws, let me go ahead and say that right now. Despite its flaws, and I'll be the first person to tell you that it has them. But the analog sticks, obviously, or the analog stick is a big one. The 4 controller ports being stock on the console changed a lot of the way people play games. And that's not, to me, a lot of what makes the N64 special is again, it's very deeply rooted in there. It's not hype to me, it's history.
Thank you, Mr. Brickhouse. Your time is up.
God, the pressure of those.
I know, right?
It's like when you have 45 seconds, you're like,
All right, we're going to move on to the affirmative argument. Mr. Payne,
Okay.
you're up first. Right. Again, you have 45 seconds on the clock. You may begin.
I would argue that for the N64, it is not only not the greatest of all time, it is not the greatest of its generation. I think that both the PlayStation, and this is going to be a little bit controversial, but the Sega Saturn did it better. And a lot of that has to do with the library of games, right? On the N64, there are essentially only 2 RPGs. And one of them is good. So 50% of your RPGs are good. The rest, the hype of the N64 is mostly sports games or first-party titles from Nintendo. Don't get me wrong, first-party titles from Nintendo, fantastic. They work great. But I think the PlayStation had a much better library of games as well as a much better controller. And the Sega Saturn, if you had the ability to utilize the Japanese ports, a much better, more robust library. So me, it's third place in that generation. Can't be the GOAT overall.
Thank you, Mr. Payne.
Very
Mr.
well said,
Brickhouse,
Ryan.
you may begin your opposing argument.
So what he said, everything he just said, obviously comes from his opinion on that. He believes that the PlayStation and the Saturn are better, and I respect that opinion. However, I do believe that the N64, despite its very small library, and while PlayStation did have an enormous library and a couple of really, really great games and a lot of really good JRPGs, the N64 had some of the greatest games ever made, period. Ocarina of Time, Super Mario 64, GoldenEye, and by some extent, Turok Dinosaur Hunter made first-person shooters work on home consoles. Star Fox 64, Banjo-Kazooie, we had platformers. Some of the best platformers ever made are on the N64, and a lot of the games on N64 are still being speedrun to this day. They're still popular.
Thank you, Mr. Brickhouse. We're going to move on to the rebuttal portion of the debate. Mr. Payne, you may begin. You have 45 seconds.
I think to call the N64 foundational, I don't think that's a reach, right? And I will say that often I think that it's conflated that the N64 is something that we look at with rose-colored glasses. And while I will agree that there are some of really fantastic games on the N64, if you compare those to other consoles from other generations of even just the Nintendo, there are a lot more fantastic games per capita that you can acquire or at least engage with, right? The NES, the Super Nintendo, 2 consoles before them. And I would also argue that the N64 is one of the reasons that Nintendo's downfall occurred, because they tried to push everything into the 3D. They started utilizing funky controls, and they lost the support of a lot of third-party companies because they made a console that was difficult to program for.
Thank you, Mr. Payne. Well done. Mr. Brickhouse, you may begin your rebuttal.
Yeah, so what the very handsome Ryan just said,
Handsome, I like that.
Is true. Yeah, is true.
Flattery will get you nowhere.
I understand and respect a lot of what he said. However, I would also look at this period of this is where Nintendo birthed the Nintendo that we know today, for better or for worse. This is where they started going, you know what, we're funky and we're going to own it. The N64 controller is pretty much indicative of that, right? You either hate it or you love it. I love it. Where it hits hard. Would you rather have 100 good games or 10 phenomenal games that defined that generation? Now, that's not to say that the other consoles didn't have those, but Nintendo stuck the landing with those games, and from that point forward, it owned it into the future.
Thank you, Mr. Brickhouse.
I'm telling you, that time limit's tough.
It is.
We are moving on to our final arguments, closing arguments. Mr. Payne, you have 45 seconds on the clock. Wrap it up. Let's go.
I would say that the N64 has a lot of good things going for it, which is a surprising thing to hear from me. As somebody who is a N64 hating apologist on most accounts, me admitting that is a big stretch for me and its personal growth. But I will say that I think that people, again, view the N64 with a lot more nostalgia than what they remember. And a classic example of that to me would be playing GoldenEye. If you're not a huge fan of that game and you don't continually play it, go back and play it. And I will tell you that more than likely, you will struggle with that game. It's not exactly as you remember. And I think most of our fun factor that we got from that was the advent of essentially first-time multiplayer for most people.
Thank you, Mr. Payne. Mr. Brickhouse, you may make your final argument.
Yeah, so I would say that the Nintendo 64 defined local multiplayer in the late 90s and early 2000s. Having those 4 controller ports brought so many people together. We'd see that later in the Nintendo Wii, but 64 really started that. It spawned franchises and mechanics that are still active and relevant today. They redefined so many genres with the N64. And I would say nostalgia is obviously a very strong thing for me. It's very hard for me to speak on this without being nostalgic. And he is right. I can play GoldenEye no problem, but other people probably can't. That being said, nostalgia fades for some people, but N64 games are still played. They're still speedrun, and they are modded today. That is active value. And I would say they do have an unmatched hit-to-miss ratio.
Thank you very much, Mr. Payne, Mr. Brickhouse. I will try to contain my disappointment that this was so polite. But,
By the way, Patrick, fuck you.
You suck.
for our panelists in the chat and listening at home, please reach out to us on social media or via email. Let us know who you think won the debate and whether you think the N64 is overrated or, in fact, underrated, and whether you'd like to see the segment again.
Well, I think we all won because we were so polite and friendly.
Yeah.
I know. I'll have to try to provoke more next time.
Just gotta throw in like some like ohs and like to try to like,
Right.
increase the tension.
soundbite.
Jerry.
Well, it's also because Ryan and I have been talking about this for years,
Mhm.
and now that it's finally happened, we're like, but we really respect each other, so we don't want to like walk over each
Right,
other. Because
right.
Yeah.
Like I totally just like if we could even talk about what we just talked about. A lot of what he said, I agree with. You know, like I genuinely agree with, and I totally get it. I am super nostalgic for the N64, and I know that colors a lot of my judgments.
And I'll admit
it's
I'm
not like that for everybody.
Yeah, I'll admit I'm the same way with the Super Nintendo. It's often
Yeah.
like that one console that hit when you were a kid that just defined you as a gamer. Probably is where your preferences go.
And that's the thing too, is like the Super Nintendo did that for me. Like the Super Nintendo was a god in my house. I that was my console in the N64. I think that's also why I was so excited for the N64.
Gotcha.
You know, being a Nintendo kid, you know, so.
And I
Yeah,
switched to the
that's-
PlayStation, so it's kind of where.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's growing up with it. I mean, it hit when I was 12 years old.
There you go.
So
Yeah. So really what you're saying is that I have to spend the week prior to the debate sowing discord and false rumors.
Correct.
Eh,
Yep.
yes,
If you could do
between
that.
the two participants, and then we'll get some action. Okay,
Yeah.
If,
perfect.
if you can be like the propaganda officer for us, that would be fantastic.
I feel
I
like
can
she
do
could
that.
do that just
Yeah.
fine. Yeah.
I can do that.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and wrap up the episode. Thank you, everyone, for listening to episode 171 of Gamers Week Podcast, and a big thank you to the Retro Game Club Podcast, Love Retro BTW, Pixel Pawn Production Company, and absolutely the best podcast, A Work in Progress, for sponsoring this episode. Don't forget to check out their links in the show notes. If you want to connect with Gamers Week, follow us on Twitter and Blue Sky at Gamers Week PC. Watch us right here on Twitch at twitch.tv/Gamers Week Podcast, where we will record live every Wednesday at 8:30 Central Time. Email us at gamersweekpodcast@gmail.com. Visit our merch store at gamers-week-podcast.creator-spring.com. Or if you want to do it the easy way, follow the link in the show notes. And last but not least, join us on Patreon at patreon.com/gamersweek. Finally, since you made it all the way to the end of this episode, please leave us a rating and a review to let us know how we did. We really do value your feedback. And while you're there, consider subscribing on iTunes, Spotify, or your podcast platform of choice. Patrick, thank you so much for joining us. This was a pleasure, as always.
Thank you for having me, of course.
Quickly, let the folks know where they can find you.
Yeah. You can find me at Ryan's house very shortly.
Uh,
We're going to play some N64.
Oh man, I was hoping for something else, but okay.
That's what we call it these days.
Ah!
Ryan's like, damn it, all this talk of Beat Saber got me excited.
Wait. That's what we were talking about the whole time?
Yeah. Retro gamers say, I'm going to play some N64, and that's code, Ryan. Come on.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, you can find me obviously by my main social media platform now, because I'm super limited these days, is Blue Sky. That's where I am now. And everybody can find me there. I'm over there chatting away and wanting to talk, and so please find me there. retroblast.bsky.social. I had to learn that. It's not just Blue Sky.
Yeah.
yeah, that's where you can find me. And of course, you can find the podcast pretty much anywhere. And if you haven't listened to it, I would love if you did. It's a celebration of games. It's as Blue and Ryan can tell you, they've been guests on my show, and we make the focus about one game and talk about why it's so special and talk about our memories. And I love that so much. It's something that's really important to me, is celebrating why these games matter to us and why they leave these long impressions on us. So that's what the show's all about. So I would love for you to listen. And again, you can find it Retroblast on anything really. I mean, Spotify, Amazon, Apple, it should pop up. So yeah, check it out.
And we love the show so much we've been sponsored. So that's a huge we love Retroblast.
Which I'm super appreciative of that.
Yeah, so
Yeah. So when you're done here, be sure to check out the show notes. We'll have all of Pat's relevant links. Highly recommend the episodes about Donkey Kong Country and Resident Evil 4. I think those are
yeah.
the peak of the show.
See, Blue, I'm going to bring
The
you back
peak!
to DKC2. She's coming back for DKC2. That's what we got to do.
Yo.
Goat.
All right, Ryan, who are we rating?
we're gonna raid Seven Castle Forest here for tonight. So definitely check him out. Give him a like and a follow. And thank you all for
big ol' wet kiss.
that as well. If you could do that, that would be
Oh.
fantastic.
I wasn't prepared for that.
But you were prepared to play N64 with me?
Yeah.
Now I feel
You've been dreaming about that
special.
all week.
For years, Blue.
All right, guys. Thanks for stopping by. Have yourself a good night.
Thanks, everyone.
Take care,
Good night.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, they're